All right. The past 2 weeks have been spent learning the key steps and rules of distributive property multiplication. We learned that the outside value meets or multiplies to all the inside values. In actuality, you are distributing multiplication. So when you look at the problem here, notice that the 4 is next to a parentheses. This is our way of showing multiplication. Pretty much our bell ringer has had problems just like it, where you have 4 parentheses 2 equals 8. So the trick to this is that there is more than one value to multiply by, so we distribute the multiplication of 4 to everything inside. That's why it's called distributive property. And so you can also distribute division. So again, kind of looking at that to make sure you understand, this is 4 times both of these, and so you're distributing that 4 to both of them. That is pretty much what it is. So today we're actually going to look at distributing division. Hopefully you've been keeping up with our transition into algebra signs. We discussed that the problem 40 over 5 is the algebraic way of writing 40 divided by 5. And again, if this doesn't make sense, shoot me an email, shoot your teacher an email, let them know, and make sure you get to where you need to be. So let's take a real quick look at the new types of problems that we're going to see this week, which is like this now. It's a fraction, but it's a fraction with 2 things on top. And in this fraction, both of those values in the numerator are being divided by 2. In order to simplify that problem, we're going to split it into 2 pieces. So what you're doing here is you're taking 20x plus 6 over 2, and you're literally splitting it into, well, I guess it wouldn't be like that, but it would be 20 over 2 and 6 over 2, which is, or 20x over 2 and 6 over 2, which is where that comes from. Once you have split it, you simplify both parts. So 20x over 2, because 20 divided by 2 is 10, would be 10x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And that is what we will do. So take a moment in general just to split here some of these here. And again, if you get stuck on that, shoot an email, pause the video, ask a question, and do what you need to do. But keep in mind, both of these numbers are being divided by 5. So what we're going to do is split it with this number first, which is 45y over 5, plus 15 over 5. Not going to worry about solving it yet. Just make sure you know how to split it. On this one right here, it's this part here, which is 12m over 3 plus 18 over 3, which is what you need to do. Next would be something like this one here, where we start with 20p over 4 plus, always your attachment, and then 16 over 4. Just like in the multiplication part, we attach with a plus sign to keep things organized, to keep things connected like they're supposed to. And then the last one, 14e over 2 plus this other part here, which is 8 over 2. So it's similar to the distributive property of multiplication. The thing we're doing again is we're distributing this multiplication to both of these numbers. So 3 is going into 12m, 3 is going into 18, 2 is going to 14e, 2 is going into 8. So as long as you know how to split the fraction, it's pretty straightforward. Just divide the numbers and attach the variable if you need to. So if you're going to divide 30x over 5, you divide 30 by 5 and simply attach the x, which ends up looking like this, which is 6x. All right. 1 second. All right, now I can do this. So looking at some problems here, I'm going to do this. Pay attention to what I'm doing. And again, if anything happens, get a hold of whoever it is, if it's me, if it's another teacher. But just let them know you're having issues with it. But here we go. 28x plus 8 over 4. We're going to simplify this by splitting it first to be 28x over 4 plus the other side, which is 8 over 4. Now we divide. 28 divided by 4. I believe 4 times 7 is 28, so that's 7x. And 4 goes into 8 2 times, which would be 7x plus 2. This is your simplified version of that fraction. And that's all that it is. All right. Looking at another one, 27x plus 12 over 3. First off, we're going to do this one, which splits to be 27x over 3. This splits to be 12 over 3. Then you're going to go ahead and do both. 27 divided by 3, I believe, is 9, because 3 times 9 is 27. Attach your x. 12 divided by 3, I believe that 3 times 4 is 12. And so there you go. This process even works with 3 people, 4 people, whatever you have up top. So again, you split it carefully. 6x over 2 first, plus second part's going to be 4y over 2, plus the last part's going to be 8z over 2. And again, notice how I draw a line through my z so I don't get it confused with a 2. Outside of that, 6 divided by 2 turns into 3, attach your x. 4 divided by 2 turns into 2, attach your y. 8 divided by 2 turns into 4, attach your z. And that is it. Okay? So again, this is your final answer, just like that was your final answer. And the reason we can't put these together is because they're not the same. You have to have x terms go with x terms. We'll talk about that soon. Y terms go with y terms, etc., and so on and so forth. So take a second, pause the video, try this out and see how it works, and then we'll go from there. I am starting now. So you should have split this to be 35x over 5 plus 40 over 5. 35 divided by 5 is 7, attach your x. 40 divided by 5 is 8. That would be your stopping point. Keep in mind for the test this week, you do need to show that middle step. Although you don't have to show the steps on your distributive multiplication, you do have to show it for this because it's new. Here, again, splitting this is 45x over 9 plus 18 over 9. Therefore, we go ahead and get 45 divided by 9, which is 5x. We get 18 divided by 9, which is 2. And that is my answer. Take a second, pause this one and try it out. I forgot to say that on the last one. Sorry about that. Hope you did it anyway. And I'm going over that now. This is just 3 splits. The first thing is 9x over 3 plus 30y over 3 plus 6z over 3. So this 3 is distributing division-wise to 3 different things. 9 divided by 3 turns into 3 and attach your x. 30 divided by 3 turns into 10 and attach your y. Don't forget to attach your plus sign. And then 6 divided by 3 is 2. Attach your z. And that would be your final answer. Or you'll eventually be able to say 9 divided by 3 is 3. 30 divided by 3 is 10. 6 divided by 3 is 2. As you continue to get better and as you continue to practice, you'll eventually be able to see it. So before we close this video out, we do need to stress the importance of rules with negatives and positives. When you're combining integers, which is addition, subtraction, the larger value gets the sign. But when you're multiplying, the same sign makes it positive, different signs makes it negative. Or if you say it's a negative and a negative, remember that 2 negatives lead to a positive because they stack up. Or if the signs are different, that means there's only 1 negative, so it'll be negative. However it is, the key thing is making sure you've got it. Also remember that multiplication looks different than combining, so make sure you can determine which ones represent multiplication, which ones don't represent multiplication. For example, this is not multiplication, this is combining. And this one we're talking about a -6 combined with a -4. This is multiplication, so this would actually be -2 times 5, which we know to be -10, because 2 times 5 is 10. There's 1 negative, so it's negative. This is multiplication, so again, you're talking about -7 times -3, which is a positive 21. Why? Because there are 2 negatives in multiplication. 2 negatives make it positive. Or if the signs are the same, then it's positive. Anything like that that makes it stick. This is not multiplication. This is combine. Because you're talking about a -3 combining with a -9, and you go from there. This is multiplication because you see that there's nothing between them. And so you're talking about 4 times -3, which is -12. And again, it's negative because there's 1 negative. So these are rules that we've been talking about. Just make sure you're where you need to be. And this is not multiplication. This is combining. You're talking about putting a -4 with a -6 and going from there. We will be working with the rules more this week, but it's very important, again, that you start to recognize one from the other, because as we keep moving forward, it's going to get more and more important that you know how to do that. Outside of that, just be sure to take advantage of the work this week. You have a test on Friday. It does cover distributive property problems from the past 2 weeks as well. The good news is there are no order of operations problems, and because of this, you have an excellent opportunity to raise your grade. So just make sure you respect the process and the problems. Don't just rush through and think that this is going to be an easy test, because if you forget anything from the past 2 weeks, or if you make any small mistakes on this test, it's going to be just as bad as it was for some of you on the Chapter 1 test. So outside of that, be sure to ask for help as you need it, and good luck.